Okay, we're outside, hurrah, from the polytunnel. The blackbird's been having a bath. I might join it shortly, but let's do a little bit on digging to start with. It's not my personal favourite approach, but I think it's worthwhile that everybody knows what's involved with it. And what we're going to look at is the kind of, well, not the professional approach, but it's the way you are recommended to do it, which is double digging. And we'll explain what's involved with that. First of all, before we start that, the handling of tools, I just did something then which I think you should be a little bit careful of, and that is throwing the spade or the fork for two reasons. One, if you're doing it when you're actually doing the digging, you can actually miss, and there's always a boot in the way, which then makes you dance the double digging dance. Particularly if it's gone straight through your boot. The other thing is it's quite jarring on the arm, so limit the amount that you do of that. The other thing is, which I see I've just done it again. The other thing is when you're using the spade particularly, some people like to jump on it like that, which gets good force behind it, but it's really dodgy. Really don't do that. I've seen people before now putting both feet on there and both of them slipping off the sides, and you can imagine the effect that has if you continue the forward motion. And one other thing to do with that is basically kind of not so damaging, but the stamping thing, which is that. And that's really bad, not only for your boots, but for your feet. These are your strongest muscles, so use them. When you're pressing down, you can move the spade and it will eventually work in. Do it like that. Okay, so double digging, you start with a trench. It's a spade's width. It's not quite a spade's depth in this case. It's quite a big spade, mind you. And I've cleared the soil out. That's what this heap of spoil is here. So that's the first stage, that's the trench produced, and then in the bottom of that you would put your organic matter. I'm not going to use any of my special organic matter for this because I don't really want this here, but anyway, this is kind of pretend organic matter. So that goes in the bottom, you put a layer of it, I don't know, 1 or 2 inches, 5 centimetres max. And that's it. I've actually done that before. I should have done another operation. What I've just demonstrated to you is single digging. Digging a trench and then putting the organic matter in. Double digging, before the organic matter goes, what I should have shown you was this. And you get the fork right down in the bottom and you're going to fork's depth. Very solid. One reason for doing the double digging is to loosen very solid soil. Hopefully it's not got into that state in the first place. And even though it's called double digging, you're not actually doing another lot of digging. It's kind of one digging, one forking, or loosening. Okay, that's enough of that. That's now ready for the organic matter. So imagine lots of nice organic matter going in the bottom there. And then you dig your next trench. And it gets easier because you've got an edge now to work off. So just fills in the hole, work backwards. Got a nice tread on this spade, by the way. That helps things enormously. Okay, all I'm doing is creating another trench and just piling it up. And the end result will be this first trench filled, the new one ready for the loosening and the organic matter. And so on, working backwards. This will be tidied up. And it keeps filling back in again. There we are. I think you can get the idea. You work backwards all the way along the bed, and when you get to the end, you've got a blank little trench to fill in. That's where you barrow all of that soil out of the very first trench right down to the other end. Perhaps if I'd just put that in the barrow in the first place, it might have been even better. But there we are, double digging. I'm going to go and have a lie down now. Thank you very much.